Very good afternoon, students. Today I will be sharing with you unit number 3, part number 3. This will be the video for part number 3. In this, we are going to cover management of sales territories and the sales quota. And the various learning objectives will be that you'll be able to understand the concept and reason for sales territories. You'll be able to learn how to design a sales territory and how the sales territories are assigned to the salespeople, to know the various territory coverage, including the routing, scheduling, and time management, to understand the objectives and types of sales quotas, to learn the methods of setting the sales quotas, to get insight into setting and administration of the sales quotas. So let's start with the first one, that what is a sales territory? Actually, a sales territory can be explained as a geographical area which consists of the existing and the potential customers, and it is assigned to a salesperson. Most of the companies allot salespeople to geographical territories consisting of current and prospective customers. What are the main benefits or what are the reasons for assigning the sales territories? By assigning the sales territories, a salesperson was able to increase the coverage of the market. The selling expenses can be controlled. It helps to evaluate the performance of the salespeople in a better way. It improves customer relationships. It increases the sales force effectiveness. It improves sales and profit performances. So these are the various reasons why a sales territory is assigned to the salespeople. Then if we talk about the procedure for designing the sales territories, first of all, a very basic control unit is selected. You can say a control unit is actually a geographical territory that is selected as a base unit, and upon it only the sales territories are designed. So first of all, a control unit is selected, then a location, the location for the potential and for the potential present and prospective customers is found out. Then it is decided that basic territories are decided by using the build-up method or the breakdown method. In the next slides, we'll be talking about the build-up method and the breakdown method. Okay, for the build-up method, we start with the customers. So first, that is why it is known as the build-up method, where we start with the customers and finally we move up the ladder. So first of all, the customer call frequencies are decided. Then the total customer calls are calculated, which will be required in each of the control units. Then an estimate of the workload capacity of salesman is done. Then the tentative territories are decided. Then upon it only the final territories are developed. The main objective in this is to equalize the workload of the salespeople. So that is why it is the build up method. The next slide will talk about the procedure in the breakdown method. So you can see one is moving from from the bottom to the up, and one is from the bottom to the down. So in the breakdown method, the first thing that is done is an estimate is done for the company sales potential of the total market. So then a forecast of sales potential for each control unit is calculated. Then estimated sales volume expected from each salesperson has to be calculated. Then the tentative territories are decided and final territories are developed according to it. The main objective over here is to equalize the sales potential of the territories, whereas the previous one, that was the build-up method, it focused on the workload of the salespeople. Now I talk about the assigning of the sales territories to the various salespeople. So it is the work of the sales manager who assigns the sales territories to salespeople. He assigns the territories based on mainly two criteria. One is the relative ability of the salespeople, and secondly, based on the salesperson's effectiveness in a territory. So it has to be seen that what is the ability of the salespeople? It is actually judged on based on the following factors, like the product knowledge that the salesperson has, what is the market knowledge that the salesperson has, what is his past sales performance, what are the communication and selling skills that the salesperson is carrying. So these are the various abilities of a salesperson according to which the sales manager decides the territories. Then you have the salesperson effectiveness in a territory. You have to see in this how effective is the salesperson in a particular territory. That is done mostly by deciding the or comparing the social, the cultural and physical characteristics of the salesperson with respect to the particular territory. The main objective in this is to match the salespersons to the territory. Then we have management of territorial coverage. So how we are going to manage the territory? Okay, so we talk about management of the territorial coverage. So in this, actually, it is decided the how the salesperson should cover the assigned sales territory that has been given to him. So it actually includes three tasks for a sales manager. That it in planning the efficient routes for the salespeople, scheduling the salespeople time, and using time management tools to check his performance, whether he is working according to the time that has been set or not. So the first point in this is routing, where routing is actually what? It is a travel plan that is used by the salesperson for making the customer calls in the territory. That means you're deciding the route. So the benefits of reason or routing is the benefits for routing is mostly that it helps reduce the travel time and the traveling cost. It helps you to improve in the territory coverage. And the importance of routing also depends on the application. It depends on the nature of the product. It is mostly important for the FMCG companies. It depends on the organization. What is the product that the organization is carrying? Accordingly, the routing has to be decided. So that is why the sales manager decides the travel plan for the salesperson so that his efficiency can be improved. Then, what is the procedure for setting up a routing plan? First of all, it is identified the where is the current and the prospective customer is located on the territory map. Accordingly, each customer is classified according to their potentiality, whether he is a very good customer, whether he is an average customer, or whether he is a low sales potential customer. Accordingly, the sales frequencies has to be decided for each class of the customers. So and then the route plan is decided according to the importance of the customers. So the building of the route plan around the locations of high potential customers. For this, computerized mathematical models are also developed. Mostly the you can see over here I have drawn the commonly used routing patterns, that is the straight line or the hopscotch method, the circular method or the clover leaf method. In the first one, that is the straight line method, you can see that there is a geographical unit, the base control unit, which is the control unit. From there, the a salesperson is moving on to the territory which is the farthest from the office, and on the way back home he goes to that particular territory or he goes to the particular organization which is nearest to his office. In the circular method, you can see that the control unit is located in the center, and it is the work of the salesperson to control to move over the diameter of the diameter that has been allotted to him. In the clover leaf, you can see that the base unit is at the center, and he mostly covers the his territories in a semicircular manner. Now it depends upon the size of the organization, whether it is if the organization is huge or the geographical spread of the customers is large, then maybe it will take some weeks or months to cover all the customers. So it depends on the organization and the geographical location of the customers. How much time will the salesperson take to cover all the territories? Then we talk about the scheduling. Scheduling means what? When you're setting the timetable or you're setting the timing for the salesperson, that when he is going to visit the customers. So scheduling is planning a salesperson's visit time to the customers. It deals mostly with the time allocation for the salesperson. So how to allocate the salesperson's time? So that it is the work of the sales manager to communicate to the salesperson the major activities and the time allocation for each activity. Now, the salesperson records the actual time spent on various activities for mostly some weeks. The sales manager and the salesperson discuss and decide how to increase the time spent on major activities. Then the companies also specify all the call norms for the current customers based on the sales and the profit potential, and also on the prospective customers. Then the next one is time management tool. Time management tools actually specifies how the sales manager or the house the salesperson is going to manage the time that he is spending on the field. To help outside salespeople to manage the time efficiently and productively, the tools available are mostly high-tech equipments are used like the laptop, the computers, and the cellular phones. Inside salespeople provide the clerical support, the technical support, and for the prospecting and qualifying as they are remaining within the company. So the inside salespeople are actually providing support to the field salespeople. So and the outside salespeople can spend more time getting more orders and building relationships with the major customers. Outside salespeople travel outside the organization. That is why they are known as the outside salespeople. So the time of the salesperson is actually controlled with the help of various time management tools. Then we'll talk about sales quotas. So we finished with sales territories. Now switch on to sales quota. What is actually a quota? A sales Actually, sales quota is a sales goal or a target that has been given to the salesperson by the company for marketing within for achieving those sales quotas within a particular period of time. The marketing or sales units are regions. It can be branches. It can be territories. So these are the various types of sales quotas that are set. Generally, the company sales budget is broken down to sales quotas for various marketing units. Now, what is actually the object of setting sales quota for the salesperson? By using the quotas, the performance of the salespeople can be managed. It helps the sales manager to understand whether he is actually performing according to the performance standards that has been set for the salesperson. In this way, the sales manager is able to control the salesperson's work. It also helps to motivate the people by linking the quotas to the various compensation plans. Then it helps to identify the strength and weakness of the company so that the proper training can be given. So now we'll talk about them one by one. So the first one, that is providing the performance standards. Actually, a sales quota provides the sales manager with the help of which the sales manager is able to map the performance of the salesperson. A quota also provides a goal or a target to the salesperson that has to be fulfilled. Hence, a quota is a performance standard against which the actual performance is compared to understand whether the salesperson is actually performing according to the standard that has been set. The second one is controlling the performance. Quotas are actually set for selling as well as for non-selling activities. With the help of quota, the salesperson is able to keep an eye, he is able to control the wasteful expenditure by the customers. It can be traveling expenses, it can be lodging expenses, it can be entertainment expenses. So, with the help of the quotas, the sales manager is able to control the performance of the salespeople. It also helps in motivating the salespeople because the Salesforce compensation plan is actually often linked with the help of achievement of the quotas. So the financial compensation it can include salary, it can include commission, it can include bonuses and various other incentives. So the performance is actually recognized by awards or by giving you rewards like giving trips abroad, financial compensation, and these various types of rewards are called incentives. And the incentives are linked with the quotas which are made available achievable for the salesperson so that he can put in extra effort to fulfill his quota. Then for motivating the people, various types of sales contests are held, which helps in motivation of the salespeople. During the contest, the as the salespeople should be given equal number of chances so that more and more people can win the sales contest. Actually, these are very short term incentive plans which are actually conducted to increase the sale within a shorter period of time. So the salespeople should be allowed to participate in this so that they can more and more people can win through the sales contests. The next one is identifying the strength and the weaknesses of the sales people. So if the sales manager is actually able to identify whether the salespeople are working according to the performance standard that has been set in the various territories, the sales manager can identify the successful and the unsuccessful performance. On the basis of that only, he can, when he compares the actual sales performance with the respective quotas of different territories of the salesperson, the sales manager can identify the successful and the successful performers, and he can identify what type of training should be given so that his performance can be up to the mark. Now I come to the various types of sales quotas. First one is sales volume quota. So, sales volume quota is what actually the sales volume quotas can be in terms of rupees values, it can be in terms of figures. So, the several companies prepare sales volume quota for every salesperson, retailer, distributor, product, or geographical area for a specific period of time for effective control. So, sales volume quota can be in rupees, it can be in units, it can be in points, or it can be in dollars. Then we have the rupee sales volume quota, which is actually appropriate when the salespeople are required to sell many products. For example, if the organizational structure of Crompton Greaves was altered to customer segment orientation from product division. The salespeople taking care of the customer had to sell 31 products owned by the company, and the target was articulated in lakhs of rupees each year, which were further broken down to quarterly or monthly quotas. So that is a sales volume quota, that where the salesperson has to sell a particular sales volume of the product. Then you can come to the unit. We can have the unit sales volume. So in this, the companies set quotas in units of products such as tons, liters, numbers, etc. in the different situation. It actually covers three types of situation. One situation is when the salespeople are selling very few products. For example, a company markets only two products, that is CEW and ERW precision steel tubes to the business customers. This has been set as the sales quota for branch managers and salesperson in rupees as in metric tons. So, and then there comes the second situation is when the price of the product fluctuate very rapidly, resulting in salespeople achieving the rupee sales quota easily due to the increase in the profits. The third situation is when the prices of each product or service is very high and it is easy to understand the unit sales quota. For example, a company manufacturer who is manufacturing power transformers, he sets sales volume quotas in numbers for its region and sales engineer because the average price of a transformer is 20 million. So it totally depends on what type of product a person is selling. Accordingly, the quotas have to be fulfilled. Then we come to point sales volume, which is used where the company intends to enhance its profitability by instructing the sales force to sell more of the products that will be contributing more to more of the profit. Then you have the financial, you can see over here, we have the financial quota. In this, you have the margin or the net profit, and we have the expenses of the marketing margin. So, how do you calculate gross margin? I think everybody knows that. So, for calculating the gross margin, it is done by subtracting the cost of goods sold from the sales volume. So, the companies decide profit contribution by subtracting the cost of goods sold and the salespeople's direct selling expenses from the sales volume, like the salaries, traveling, lodging, boarding expenses, etc. Then we have the expense quota. After the gross margin or the profit contribution quota, you have the expense quota. From the name itself, you can understand that this quota is actually set so that the sales manager can control the expenses that are being incurred by the salespeople. So the objective is to control the cost of marketing units such as directories and the salespeople. Often the expense quotas are stated as a percentage of sales so that the salespeople give attention to both sales volume and the cost of achieving it. So the expense quotas to be administered with flexibility make salespeople cost conscious and allowing reasonable expenses. Then you have the activity quota. So under such quota, actually what is happening, the team is required to execute their activities that will have a long-term bearing on the company's goodwill. So here the certain objectives related to the job are set in attaining the performance targets of the sales force. When it comes to the in companies, we have few common types of these quotas that are mentioned below over here. The quantity of sales presentation made, amount of calls made, number of dealers visit, recovery calls made, new clients procured. So this was the activity quota. Then we come to the combination quota. So what, from the name itself you can understand that it's a combination of two types of setting of quotas. So when a company wants to control performance on both selling and non-selling activities, the combination quotas use points as a common measure to overcome the problem of different measures used by various quota discussed earlier. Because the performance against combination quotas are computed as percentage, these quotas are known as the point system. Then we come to the various types, or you can see the various territory potential methods. In this, you can see over here that the procedure that is followed by the new companies is as under: estimate the newest industry sales forecast or market potential using the sales forecasting method. After that, the estimation of the multiple factor index for each territory is done, which is based on factors that influence the sales of the product. These factors are given weights corresponding to the degree of sales opportunity. The industry sales forecast in a territory market potential is the one into the second one. Territory sales quota is equal to 3 into estimated market share of the company in the territory. Then we have the past sales experience method. So the past sales experience method, by the name itself, you can understand that on the basis of the past sales experience only the quotas are being set over here. This process consists of taking past 1 year sale or an average of previous 3 to 5 years of sales, adding an arbitrary percentage by which the market is expected to grow, and thus setting each territory sales quota. The assumption over here is that future sales are related to the past sales may not always be correct. This method should not be the only method used. And thirdly, past sales should be the one of the factors used for deciding quotas. And then we have the next one, that is the total market estimate method. Total market estimate method. Okay, now we'll talk about the total market estimate method of setting up the sales quota. So the process that is followed over here by mostly the established companies is, first of all, estimate the next year's total market demand or industry sales forecast using the various sales forecasting methods that we have discussed in the earlier slides. Then decide the company's estimated market share for the next year. Then point number 3, company's next year sales forecast, that is 1 into 2. Then fourth one, find each territory's percentage share out of the total company sales in the previous year. Then how will you calculate the territory sales quota? It is equal to 3 into 4. So in this way, a total market estimate is done and the sales quota for the salesperson is calculated. Then we have the executive judgment method. So I think everybody knows who is an executive judge. Mostly the senior executives use their judgment when the product territories and the company are new or very little market information is available. Executives predict company sales budget and also territory sales quotas. This method should generally be used along with other methods. Then we have the sales estimate method. Salespeople, some firms ask their salespeople to set their own quotas. Many salespeople either set very high or too low sales quotas. For setting proper quota, many sales managers use two or three above methods. Discuss with salesperson to get their inputs and decide the sales quota. Then we have the compensation plan. So what is actually happening in the compensation? In compensation plan method, mostly some organizations do what they set quota to fit with the sales compensation plan. For example, a company wants to pay a monthly salary of rupees 5,000 and a commission of 3% on monthly sales above rupees 1 lakh. So the quota of rupees 1 lakh is set in such a way that the salesperson would not find it very difficult to cross the compensation of rupees 8,000 per month. So accordingly, the sales quota is being decided by the manager. Then how to administer the sales quotas? We can actually administer the sales quotas by setting realistic quota that can be achieved by the salespeople. Understanding the problems of salespeople when they're setting the quotas, ensuring the salespeople that they understand the quotas. By continuous feedback to the salespeople on the performance compared to the quotas. Change quotas in cases of major in market demand. Then by have flexibility in the administering quotas. Then change quotas in cases of major changes in market demand. We are not going to change. Change quotas as in case of major changes in market demand or company strategies. Then you use monthly or quarterly quotas for the incentives and annual quotas for the performance evaluation. Finally, select a few quotas that have some relationship with the marketing environment and as well as the sales situation. So this was actually what we intended to do, where we talked about the mm, how the territory is set, what is a territory, and why is it set up for the salespeople. Then we talked about how to what talked about sales quotas. We talked about the various types of quotas and how we have left over the kadai over there. Sorry, how the quotas are actually set and how the quota is helping the sales manager to check the performance of the salespeople, how the quotas are helping the sales managers to identify those particular areas where the training is required by the salesperson. Why is a sales quota required and how it is being set so that the performance of the salespeople can be administered. They can be motivated. Actually, the compensation plans are also linked to the sales quotas. So these are the various reasons why the quotas are set. And finally, we talked about how the sales quotas are set for the salespeople to be achieved by them. So this was all from my side for today, students. Thank you.